Right. Good morning, everyone. All the online students. Is it this screen is visible? All the online students. Could you please everyone respond in the chat window? I request all the online students need to respond in the chat window. All the online students. Could you please everyone respond in the chat window? Okay. Perfect, guys. Let's get continue then. Okay. So the one we have been discussing about these particular TypeScript concepts here, right? Guys, for everyone, the voice is clear. All the online students. For everyone, the voice is clear. Okay. All right. Right. Okay. So the one we have been discussing about these particular TypeScript concepts here. As part of this particular TypeScript concept, we're done with one level of the concepts here. I mean, which we have been discussing about this particular aspect of printing with the statement, and then we got variable keywords, and then we got class, method, object. After that, data types and variables, and then static methods, and then constructor. After that, access modifiers. Continued with the same conditions, loops, keywords, and then arrays, and finally switch statement. Apart from all these particular things, which we will be taking with the help of next concept, that is what we will be taking with OOPS concepts here. As part of this particular OOPS concept, the very first concept, very most important concept, very first concept, very most important concept for playwright or interview or learning, which we can consider that inheritance. So as part of the OOPS concept, inheritance is the very most important concept which need to be get understand as part of this particular requirement. So let's go with in more detail. Let's go with in more detail how exactly we can work with this particular inheritance. Okay. As usual, first we'll understand that how inheritance has been came into the picture, because you're already having a lot of other concepts are there, but how exactly this particular inheritance concept has been came into the picture. See that. Let's go with the very regular example. You have been created one particular class, provided class name as a car, which have been created one particular class and provided that particular class name as a car. In that particular class name of car, in that particular class name of car, we are creating one particular method, mention that color, and then printing that particular respective statements. In the same way, you will be taking with one more method name, you will be taking with wheels, and you will be printing that particular respective statements. Now, the very regular concept, first we created one particular class. Inside of the class, we created with the method. Our very regular concept here. After that, we are, okay. So then we got created one more particular class, provided class name is A. We got created one more class, provided class name is A. Okay. So in that particular class, you will be taking with, in that particular respective class, you will be taking with, you will be having created one more particular method. In class A, we are creating one more method. Method name is ABC. We can go with any method. I just mentioned method name is ABC. Okay, done. Let's see the whole concept here. First, we got created one particular class and provided that particular methods. Okay. Now, requirement is, the common requirement is we need to access the methods. According to our regular understanding, if you want to access with the methods, how we can access the methods? If we want to access with the methods, how we can access the methods? Right. By creating object. By creating with the object, we can access with the methods. Okay. Now, my requirement is I want to access with the method name of color, or I want to access with the method name of wheels. If I want to access these methods, do I need to create an object for the class name of car, or I need to create an object for class A? For which class I have to create object? I want to access color method, wheels method. So if I want to access these two methods, if I want to access these two methods, for which class we need to create an object? Exactly. As simple as in which class the methods are available, we need to create an object for that particular class. That means you are creating object 1 for the class name of car. For the class name of car, you are creating that particular object. Okay. Up to this perfectly okay. Right. Next, you will be taking with created one more class. Class B. While working, class B also. While working, class B also, requirement is need to access color method and then wheels method. Need to access colors method and then wheels method. Then again, as usual, you will be creating with the object for second time for the class name of car. Okay, we got class C. While working that particular class C also, again, I created object one more time for the class name of car. That means according to the programming concept, according to that particular programming concept, whenever you want to be get access the methods, whenever you want to be get access with the methods, you need to be get create an object for that particular class. Okay. Now, my requirement is I want to be get. My requirement is I want to be get access in class A. So we created object only for one time. Another requirement is need to access in the class B created object for two times here. Class A one time, class B second time. Next, need to access in class 3. Again, we created. That means to access in one class, created object for one time. To access in two classes, created an object for two times. To access in three classes, created an object for three times here. In the same way, to access in five classes, creating the object for five times here. To access in 10 classes, creating the object for 10 times here. So that is what you will be getting with the problem. That means in how many classes you want to access the data, in how many classes you want to access with the data, that many times you need to create an object here. So this is what the one problem we are facing. See the concept. While working this particular respective programming, while working this particular respective programming concept, the problem, or we can say that that particular drawback, or we can say that limitation. That is, so while working these particular respective programs here, the problem is creating object for multiple times. Creating object for multiple times means, what is the meaning of that? In how many classes we need to access methods, that many times, that many times. Okay. So in how many times we need to be get access, that many times we need to create an object. One or two times, okay. But assume that you got in a 10 classes, 20 classes, sometimes 50 classes. So creating with the object that many times, creating with the object that many times, which is not like in a very easy. Creating with the object for that many times, which is not like in a very easy here. Because of that, to overcome this particular problem, rather than creating the object for multiple times, rather than creating with the object for multiple times, creating with the object only for one time. creating with the object for only one time and able to access the methods. So how it will be possible is that is how you got a concept of inheritance. That is how he got a concept of inheritance. With the help of inheritance. So with the help of that particular inheritance, see that. With the help of inheritance. So how we can implement with the inheritance? That is what we will be taking with extents of car. So with the help of inheritance, you doesn't require to create an object for multiple times here. You will create object only for one time. You will create an object only for one time and able to access that particular methods here. Now, you can see here. As we mentioned, extents of car, it will refer class name of car and able to access that particular method name of color, and then you will be taking with the method name of wheels here. That means, so here, if we just look into this, after extends, we got mentioned only one class. The meaning of that, this extends is able to access the data from only one particular class. This extends is able to access with the data from only one particular class here. Okay, so that is what it will be mentioning that it will be taking with single level inheritance. So that is what it will be mentioning that it will be taking with that particular single level inheritance. In the same way, you will be taking with multi-level inheritance. And then you got multiple inheritance. So if I go with these particular types of inheritance, still we got other inheritance also, but mainly we can consider single level inheritance and then multi-level inheritance and then multiple inheritance. So single level inheritance, we can mention that we can say that accessing the data, accessing the data from only one class. Meaning of single level inheritance, we can say that accessing the data from only one class. In the same way, we will be taking with multi-level. So multi-level, we can mentioning that accessing the data. Accessing the data from more than one class. Accessing the data from more than one class. That will be taking with multi-level inheritance. And then multiple accessing the data from more than one class, more than one class at same time, at same time. Nothing but we can mention parallel. We can mention that it will be taking with parallel. So that is what it will be taking with multiple inheritance. See that if I'm just taking with the inheritance, we got single level inheritance, we got multi-level inheritance, we got multiple inheritance. Single level inheritance accessing the data from only one class. multi-level inheritance accessing the data from more than one class. Multiple inheritance accessing the data from more than one class at same time. That is what parallelly. So that is what it will be taking with multiple inheritance. We got other things also, but mainly we need to be get comfortable with single level, and then it will be taking with that particular multi-level. First we'll understand the single level, and then it will be taking with multi-level. So after that, it will be taking with multiple. This is we can mention done by using interface concept. Interface concept. So if you want to be get work with multiple inheritance, you need to be get go with and using that particular perspective of in which it will be taking with this particular perspective of interface concept. So that is what it will be mentioning that which it will be taking with this particular single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance, multiple inheritance. See that. If I just go with single level inheritance, that is very straightforward. You got inherited only one particular class. Multi level, how it will be done? It will be taking with the class, mentioning the B, and then taking with extents of A. If I mention extents of A, if I mention extents of A, so here by default, it will be able to access method name of ABC because this method available in class A. In the same way, we got in a method name color, or it will be taking with the method name, it will be taking with wheels. We got in a color and it will be taking with wheels. So these two particular things, these two particular methods, you are able to access in class name of car. That means as simple, you are able to access with the data from more than one class. You are able to access with the data from more than one class that it will be taking with multi-level inheritance. Accessing with the data from more than one particular class, you will be taking with multi-level inheritance here. So this is here, if I just look into this, I mentioned extents of A. As I mentioned extents of A, if I go with this one, as I mentioned extents of A, it will refer class A. We got method name ABC, that is perfectly okay. But colors method, wheels method, how it is able to provide an access. So how it is able to provide an access is because this class A already it has been extended with car. That class A, it has been already extended with car. That is what it will be taking with this particular multi-level inheritance. So that multi-level, it can continue with multiple things here. It can go with the multiple levels. We are not having any limit on that. Based on that particular program requirement, it can continue that particular multi-levels here. We are not having any of that particular condition or rules here. This is what it will be taking with inheritance. See the whole conclusion. Let's go with an understanding one by one. First thing is the general meaning of inheritance. The general meaning of inheritance, saying that accessing data from accessing data from one class to another class. If I'm taking with that particular inheritance, if I'm just taking with that particular inheritance, we can say that accessing the data from one class to another class. Accessing the data from one class to another class that you will be taking with inheritance. Okay. Types of inheritance. Types of inheritance. You will be taking with single level inheritance, multi level inheritance, multiple inheritance. Single level inheritance, accessing the data from only one class. Multi level inheritance, accessing the data from more than one class. Multiple, accessing the data from more than one class at the same time, that will be taking multiple. To implement, to implement inheritance, to implement inheritance, you will be taking with the keyword of extends. To implement that particular inheritance, you will be taking with the keyword of extends here. That is what you will be taking with this particular inheritance. And apart from this, another thing you need to understand, while working this particular inheritance, you will be taking with some common terminologies. That is what you will be taking with. This is, we can mention that superclass. According to the inheritance, according to the inheritance, we can say that it is a superclass. In the same way, this is, you can consider that you will be taking with subclass or you will be taking with derived class, which you will be taking with subclass or you will be taking with derived class here. This is what you will be taking it, which need to be get mentioned subclass, and then you will be taking with that particular derived class here. In the same way, our best example, our regular example, we can call as that particular superclass, and then you will be taking with our human relationship. If we consider that particular human relationship, which you will be considering that parent, will be taking with that particular respective parent class, which you will be taking with the parent class, and then you will be taking with child class here. So which you will be taking with that particular parent class, you will be taking with that particular child class here. If I just go with this particular one as part of that particular human relationship, you will be taking with parent class, and then you will be taking with child class here. So this is what you will be taking with. We got different type of terminologies. We can say that superclass or we can consider parent class. In the same way, subclass, derived class, and then taking with child class here. So just the terminologies need to be get look into that. Let's see here how exactly we can write this particular program. If you want to be get right this particular program, so how exactly we can do that? As usual, you will be taking with in creating that particular program, taking with the new file, providing that particular file name, providing that particular respective of file name, you will be taking with example underscore, you will be taking with single level inheritance. First, we'll be taking with single level inheritance. After that, you will be taking with multi-level inheritance. So, single level inheritance dot, you will be taking with TS, which you will be taking with dot TS, you will be consider TypeScript file, which you will be taking with TypeScript file. Now, as usual, we need to be get go with in creating one particular respective class. We need to be get create one particular class which we will be taking with the class name. I'm just mentioning that you will be taking with this particular class, creating that particular class. Okay. Inside of that particular class, inside of that particular class, I'm just creating one particular method. I'm just creating one particular method. Method name I will be taking with. Otherwise, in simple, I will be mentioning that I will be taking with the method name that I will be taking with that particular address. First, we got created one particular class. Inside of that particular class, we created one particular method that we will be taking with address. So here, I'm just printing with the statement, mentioning that console.log, mentioning that you will be taking with console.log. Okay. So now I just written one particular method is address. Done. So now you are creating one more particular class. You are creating one more particular class, providing with the class name is you will be taking with student. So providing one particular class name, you will be taking with student. Now, I want to make connectivity of these two classes. In simple, the requirement is we need to be get provide connectivity of two classes. So to provide connectivity of two classes, you will be taking with extends. You will be taking with extends. Extends of you will be taking with that particular class name is install. Let's see here. We just created two classes here. One is institute, another one student. Now we got connectivity of two classes here. Okay. Right. So we got connectivity of that particular two classes here. Okay. Now I need to execute a program. Let's see. For that, we need to create an object. We will be taking with let object. I'm just creating with the object for that particular class name of student. See the understanding. Method name of address available in the class name of institute. But I have not created object for that. I have not created object for that class. So I just created object for that particular student class and able to access that particular method. As simple as assume that before inheritance, if I remove the inheritance, giving an error. If I remove the inheritance, it is giving error because before inheritance is not available, it's mandatory that in which class methods are available. In which class methods are available, it's mandatory that you need to create an object for that particular class here. Okay, so in which class methods are available, we need to create an object. But once we got an inheritance concept, methods can be available in any class. You are able to access it by creating only one object. Now we can see if I just go with execute this particular program. If I'm just executing this particular program, open in new integrated terminal. You will be using with the command tsx TypeScript executor, tsx TypeScript executor, providing file name example underscore single level inheritance dot you will be taking with ts. So that you will be taking with, you will be having this execution. Now we can see here, you will be taking with that particular aspect of result has been printing. Send this way, you will be taking with, you will be taking with the help of this statement here, which you will be having with in printing these particular statements here. So in this way, we can go with in working this particular inheritance concept here, mentioning that you will be taking with single level inheritance. So the meaning of single level inheritance is accessing with the data from only one class, accessing the data from only one class, considering that single level inheritance here. Now, in a similar way, we can go with multi-level. In the same way, we can go with multi-level. Let's look into that. To understand multi-level, first we'll look into the syntax and then we'll write the program. First, we'll understand that what exactly that particular syntax, and then we'll be writing with the program. Let's see that. First, class A. First, we will be taking with class A. In class A, you will be providing A value, you will be providing B value. Then we got class B, which you will be taking class B. Inside of that class B, you will be taking with X value and then you will be taking with Y value. So we got class A and then taking with class B. Okay. Then you will be taking with class C. So now we got class A, class B, class C. So totally how many classes we got? All the online students. Totally how many classes we got? Exactly. 3 classes are available. So we got that particular 3 classes. Now we need to make the connectivity. Now we need to make the connectivity for these 3 classes. We need to make with the connectivity for these 3 classes. Let's see that. For that, we will be taking with extents. Extents of A. To make the connectivity, you will be taking with extents of A. Once you done with the extents of A, once you done with the extents of A, you will be able to access A value and then you will be able to access B value. Okay. In the same way, you will be taking with this particular extents. Extents of, you will be taking with B. extents of B. Okay. Then you will be taking with extents of B. So here you will be mentioning that you got extents of B. And then you will be able to print that console.log. Very straight away, you will be able to go with that particular x plus y. In the same way, you will be taking with that particular console.log, you will be taking with a plus b. So that means, so here we are accessing the data from class B, and here we are accessing with the data from class A. That means as simple concept is we are able to access the data from more than one class. We are able to access with the data from more than one particular class. That is what you will be taking with, that is what you will be mentioning that multi-level inheritance, which you will be taking with multi-level inheritance. So this is what we got class A and then taking with class B and which we will be taking with class C here. Okay. Now let's see that how exactly we can go with, we will be taking with this particular one. So now we need to be get right that particular program. Let's look into that, how we can write it. As simple, you will be taking with new file, mentioning the example underscore multi-level inheritance dot ts. Okay. So as usual, first we will be creating one particular class, providing class name as A. In that class A, you will be taking with A equal to 10 and then taking with B equal to 20. In the same way, for understanding purpose, I'm just writing one particular method printing within the statement mentioning that console.log, it will be printing that M1 executed or M1 method executed. Okay. Then you will be taking with class 2, that is class B. So which I will be taking with class B. And then this I will be mentioning that X and then you will be taking with Y. Mention that X value and then mention that particular Y value. This is we mention that M2 and here you will be printing that M2. So we got class A, we got an A class B. In the same way, it will be taking with class C. While working class C, we got M3, which will be taking M3 method, mention the console.log M3 method executed. So that is what it will be taking with, which need to be get provided these particular methods. Now we created 3 classes. We got 3 multiple methods. We got in a 3 different classes and we got in a 3 different methods. Now we need to make connectivity of these classes. We need to make connectivity of this. So for that, you will be taking with connectivities extents. Extents of A. In the same way, what you will mention here? Extents of B. See the connectivity now. First, B is referring the A. C is referring B. So that is what you will be taking with multi-level inheritance. Okay. Let me run the program. But if I want to run the program, for which method I need to create an object? I mean, for which class I need to create an object? Is it class A or class B or class C? Previously, we got only one class, there is no confusion. But now we got that particular three classes. So here we need to be get go with, and for which class we need to create an a object. Let's see here. We can go with first understanding. We can create object for any class. We can create for class A, we can create for class B, or we can create for class C. Object can be created for any class here. But if I'm taking with this particular class B got a connectivity of A. Is not having connectivity for any other classes. Because of that reason, if we create an object for class A, not like that much of use, then you will be taking B. When you compare class B with the class C, when you compare that particular class B with the class C got a connectivity. Class C got a connectivity of all other classes here. Because of that reason, we need to create object for class C. We will be taking with object equal to, we will be taking with that particular C. Okay. Now understand actual inheritance concept. I'm just taking with M1, M2, M3. In this program, are we created any object for class A? In this program, did we created object for class A? Yes or no? No, we have not created object for class A, but we are able to access the method of M1. Then we have not created object for class B, then we are able to access with the method. We created object for class C and then able to get access that particular respective methods here. So this is what it will be taking with inheritance concept, which will be taking multi-level inheritance, which will be considering that it will be taking with multi-level inheritance here. So in this way, you need to be get go with single level inheritance and then taking with multi-level inheritance. Let's see that how the program executed TSX example underscore multi-level inheritance, taking with the TS, M1 executed, M2 executed, M3. In a very starting days of our session, we understand that for every method, we need to create object. But slowly, we got understand that as part of programming, it's not like mandatory that to create an object for every method, we can take with the help of this particular inheritance concept, and then you will be able to access the methods from other classes here. So this is what you will be taking with this particular perspective of inheritance concept here. So this is how we can go with single level inheritance, multi-level inheritance. Next, we got in a multiple, but if you want to understand the multiple inheritance, first we need to understand the concept of interface. So what is mean by interface? That it will take some time to understand. Before interface, before interface, we need to take with the help of polymorphism. So tomorrow we'll try to discuss about that particular polymorphism and encapsulation. After that, we'll be taking with other concepts here. So please go with that particular regular practice here. Sometime this programming looks like some confusion, but once you can start working on it, everything will be very easy, not at all any difficult here. So take care about that. Take care about all that particular practice here. Okay, clear everyone? Right. Online students having the questions, you guys can carry on your questions.
Welcome to NT Music World. Bluetooth mode.
Yes, Naresh, carry on.
Yes, sir. Are we going to discuss about arrays in detail in the upcoming classes like multidimensional?
No, we are not taking into the multidimensional because for
Oh,
the development perspective, very good, but
okay.
just when aware of that concept of array. Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. In the
Right.
interview perspective, sir?
Repeat again.
I mean, in the interview perspective, they ask any like in deep about
Most
arrays.
of the time, you may not get it, but we'll
Okay.
see. So that is the reason for the interview purpose. You will be
Uh,
getting one more TypeScript sessions will be there. You can just
oh,
utilize web sessions. Okay.
okay. Okay, sir.
Okay. Right.
Hi, sir. Ajay here. In the real
Yes.
time, I think so it's quite difficult to do programming, sir. It means as this
Mhm.
object, class and object.
No, no. Repeat the question.
In the real time project, sir,
Hmm.
some difficulties to find the object, find the class and methods for coding purpose.
No, 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 very easily. So that is the reason first I'm making in a comfortable of all these things here. Once you get in a comfortable of these particular programming concept, then very easily we can apply in the real time. So all these particular concepts, next slowly we'll start applying into the playwright. Then you will get more clear picture why we learn these concepts also. Okay?
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay, right.
Hello, sir.
Next.
Hello.
Yes. Yes,
Sir,
carry.
can't we create? Okay. Can't we create variables inside the class by using the let keyword?
No.
Why?
Let keyword is applicable only for particular block only. So that means within that particular method only it will be able to give an access, not like outside of the method.
By default, which one it will consider? I mean, without using any keywords for variable. Default, which one is default one?
No, there is no default one. Okay. There is no default one. So if you are writing within a method, if you want, we can go with in utilizing that particular let. Okay. Otherwise, you will be taking with this particular directly will be defining that particular variable here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Right. Next. Okay, guys. Please take care about the practice. Meet you tomorrow then. Thank you.